how to get ahead, build resilience, and stay productive. Over the next few minutes, I'm going to take you on an epic adventure for you to supercharge your life. You are going to learn how to get ahead. You're going to learn how to be more resilient, and you're going to be more productive. Are you ready? Because I'm ready. Let's do this. So the first thing we really want to look at is what really is resilience. We know that right now we're living in fairly challenging times, and there's probably never been a more important time for us to move forwards confidently, where we start to achieve more with our health, our relationships, our wealth, and our work. We know that there are gaps in the areas of our life, and I believe that the purpose of our life really is to fill those gaps in. We're going to look at the mind, what's really going on with there, because there's a lot going on in our mind. It's estimated that we have between 50 and 70,000 thoughts in one day. We're going to look at the difference between your identity and your personality. We're going to help you to become a hero, not just in the beginning, but a hero for the rest of your life as you go after the things that are really important to you. We're going to look at resilience from the point of view of what your body is trying to do. And if you want to be more resilient, how you need to start playing at the edges of what is possible. Then we're really going to look at the biggest element of what I want this class to be about today, which is about you learning how to feel better by thinking better, learning to think greater than you feel. Then we're going to talk about ducks. Why? You'll know, you'll find out. Then we're going to look at the rest of your life, jumping forward so that when your life ends, you could look back and think, wow, look what I did, look what I created. I was more resilient, and I'd love to know what your biggest takeaways are. So let's talk about resilience first of all. What do you think that word actually means? Because you can go and Google it and you'll see different definitions, but the most popular definition is definitely the ability to bounce back. But what exactly does that mean? Because we can't go back in time, right? We can't go back in time. All we can do is move forwards. How we move forwards is really, really important. For me, resilience is your ability to jump forwards because there's something in front of you that you really want to achieve. And that is what getting ahead is all about. It's much easier to get ahead where you have an idea of where it is that you want to go. And from my experience of working and coaching people for so long, is most people don't know where they want to go. They know where they don't want to be. What would happen if you could identify with the results that you're looking for with your health, your relationships, and your wealth and work? There are gaps there. And if I was to say to you, what is the greatest achievement you think you'll ever achieve in your life? Do you not think it will be who you became, what you have overcome? And right now in our world, how many people do you think there are that are struggling and they're just not progressing? And when you're not progressing, this is where we see people suffering with anxiety and depression and guilt and just frustration that they're not evolving. Because life, if you really want to go and look at what that word means, that means the space in between being born and dying. That's what life is. And what are you doing with that space? Because if you grow and evolve and you get ahead, which we'll talk about in a moment, that is where the magic is. Learning how to use your head in a different way rather than it using you. So let's talk a little bit about the mind. How many thoughts it's estimated that we have every single day? A lot. God knows how anyone worked that out, but that's a lot of thoughts. And what does your mind do? If I could step inside your mind and see what was going on for, let's say, a day, would I come out at the end of the day going, wow, that was terrific? Or would I come out going, whoa, that was horrific? You see, our minds do a number of things, but one of the things our mind does is it plays tricks on us. Have you ever tried to go to sleep at night and your mind is working overtime? Have you ever been walking down the street and you think someone's behind you? Have you ever watched a scary movie and after it's ended you thought that there was something behind the sofa? Something trying to get you? Your mind plays tricks on you. Why? Well, really, it's looking out for you. It's looking out for fear. This is the primeval part of our brain. It's called the amygdala. People call it the lizard brain. And really, it's constantly looking out for danger because that is how we survived. But now we're living in a world where we're not really designed to live in the world that we're in today. We really have to adapt. And many people's personality, I mean, this is a huge area. I'm just going to touch the surfaces of this. Many people's personalities, they think who they are is who they are always going to be. And actually the word identity means the state of being the same. So every day, if we identify with who we think we are, we identify with our current personality, then every day we keep repeating what we did the day before. Does this make sense? It's so important if you can start to get your head around this, because you don't have to be your past. You don't even have to be your present. You could be the future that you want to create. How do you do that? Well, you've definitely got to be more resilient. You've definitely got to wake up to the fact of who you're identifying with. Because if you're identifying with who you think you are right now, this is what happens. You will feel a certain way that is related to who you think you are. So in most cases, you won't feel like doing many things, and you won't do things, and you won't advance. So your feelings dictate your actions basically will dictate who you think you are. If you want to change that, you've got to become more. And when you want to become more, this is our average, the temperature of our body, around about 38 degrees, right? So this ball in a basin, this is what this signifies. If you get really hot, your temperature goes up, obviously, and then your body tries to cool it back down again. If you get really cold, your temperature goes down and your body tries to bring itself back up again. If we want to get stronger in life, we have to start playing with the edges. You know, if you want to be fitter, you can imagine you have to start playing at the edges of how fit you are, working a bit harder so that you actually end up getting fitter. In order for us to grow, in order for us to get better, we have to be more resilient, which then allows us to be more flexible. And you know that right now, we're living in a world where one of the reasons people aren't getting ahead is because they're not using their minds in different ways. They're letting their minds use them. They have a voice inside their head. People call this part of the brain the amygdala, which is always looking out to protect you. I call it the duck. That voice in your head that just wants you to stay where you are. Now, you'll never get rid of that voice. It's always going to be there. It's actually just trying to protect you. It doesn't know really where we want to go. And in most cases, you probably don't know where you really want to go. And if I was to say to you, tell me what you want, what you really, really want. And all of the videos on our YouTube channel are all about helping people get ahead, all about helping people fill the gaps between where they are and where they're capable of being as you progress. But what I want you to really take away from this video today is to understand, if you want to get ahead, you've got to have something to aim for. You've got to be resilient enough to jump forwards towards the things that you want to achieve, even though it might be difficult, even though it might be challenging, and to start playing at the edges to get uncomfortable. That really is the key. That is why when you think about the end of your life right now, which might seem a bit morbid to you, what is it that you want to leave behind? What is the legacy that you want to have created? Because your life isn't over, and right now you have an opportunity to be stronger, to be better. But what is the difference that is going to make the difference? So, in summary, how do you get ahead? To get ahead is to have something in front of you that you've got to do. Who do you want to be? What do you want to achieve with your health, your relationships, your wealth, your work? That's the key. Then to know that it's going to be challenging along the way. That's how you're going to get stronger and stay in the game. When your mind starts playing tricks on you, that's where you've got to find a bit of humor in what you think. You've got to move beyond the part of who you think you are. You are who you choose to be. And now is the time to make a choice, maybe like you've never made before. A decision to move forwards confidently and bring your best self into the game of life. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And we'll see you next time for another one of our YouTube videos. Goodbye.